Howdy, shipmates, and welcome back. My name is Patrick Goodman. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome aboard. We are happy to have you here with us. Uh, we talk about Star Trek and the Star Trek Adventures role playing game. Mostly, that's what we're going to be talking about today, in fact, but that's not all we talk about. I've got some stuff coming up that I think is pretty interesting. But before we get started, my usual plea. I am sitting at, last time I looked, 466 subscribers, which is a fair number for me. I always want more. I want more. I'm aiming for 500. So, with that being said, if you could do all the YouTube things you need to do, liking, subscribing, telling friends, do everything you can if you're so inclined. I'm not your dad, except for like 3 people who might view this, and for them, I am your dad. But you still don't have to subscribe if you don't want to. Not gonna force even my kids, guys. You know what you get when you have ADHD and 25 or 30 projects on your to-do list. You want to know what you get? You get distracted. That's what you get. I meant to do this weeks ago and I saw shiny objects everywhere and I just started going after them and suddenly realized, I never did that creature creation video. And that is what we are going to do today. We are building on some of the rules in the latest Star Trek Adventures source book, Allies and Adversaries. I did a review on that. I'll put a link. No, this corner. This is the corner where the link will be. I'll get that right one of these days. But today is not that day. Yeah, that's only after I've, rehearsed that a few times. Here, live on camera. But we are going to go into the Allies and Adversaries Sourcebook and play around with some of the new rules that were included therein. So let me bring up the book. And here we go. This is the book. We are going to go to 119s but the rules actually start on page 120 for creature creation. Genetic engineering, as they so rightfully put it. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. If I can hit the right button. There we go. There we go. All right. Let's just kind of get to the flow chart. This is one of the things I love about the Star Trek Adventures source books of late is they've got these flow charts here that help us figure out, and by us I mean me, help us figure out how to get things done. So what we're going to do, the creature that we are going to create today is a jikaru. That is the big kaiju from Strange New Worlds season 3 episode 7. What is Starfleet? And it lets me play out my great enjoyment of Strange New Worlds. Helps me test out these new rules, and it helps me well, it helps me get one more thing off of my to-do list, which may sound selfish, but what can you do? So let's start here. We're going to use one of the things we're going to use today is we're going to use this NPC slash creature template that I created for Affinity. I used to do things in Microsoft Publisher, but they're retiring that, so I'm learning Affinity. And we are just going to do some work directly in here to start with. So let's first of all, let's save this blank template and actually create a document. Jikaru. And we are going to, well, let's just go down the list here. Step 1 is determine its environment and ecological niche. Well, it originally started out on the ocean moon. It was aquatic and probably a predator, but an alien species called the Lutani had been modifying it to act as a space weapon. So let us, but that's its, I'm going to say its environment is space, its ecological niche, weapon. And it wants to start with its traits. So let's do that. Let's go here to the section on traits. And for those of you who remember the episode, let's see, what do we want to call this? It's a weaponized creature. There may be some more traits that come up later, but for those, actually, there's at least one right now. Because if you saw the episode, you know that this. I guess I need to put a spoiler warning at the beginning of this video for those of you who haven't seen season 3 of Strange New Worlds. But it was functionally a control collar. It's an implanted device that controls the creature, and the creature is, as a result, in significant pain. So we're going to put in great pain. So yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Scale and NPC type. Well, this creature did kind of fight the Enterprise to a standstill. It was a significant threat. I'm going to say this is a notable NPC. And we're going to be using the Cosmozoan rules that appear in this book, if I can type. So maybe that ought to be a trait as well. So we'll put that in the middle there. Am I overusing traits? Oh, probably. But as the saying goes, it is what it is. So there's step 3 already. Step 4, attributes, departments, focuses, and values. Well, it's a notable NPC. It's really only going to have probably one value. And if you've seen the episode, you know that it was trying to escape its captivity and the pain that it was in. So we're going to say that its one value is escape the pain. Focuses. Notables get 3 focuses, I think. So we're going to say that its focuses are, and that's one of the things that it does. Its primary weapon is an energy attack that can absorb energy from an assailant, say a phaser blast or a photon torpedo, and redirect it back outward. So let's do energy projection as a focus. It went to a great deal of trouble and seemed to have a great knowledge of how to stay alive in its situation. So we're going to say it had survival instincts as a focus. And one of the things that really wound up selling things and securing things and helping it solve its problem was telepathic projection. Okay, so there are its values and focuses. Let's take a look at its attributes and its departments. Okay, before I do this, let me go back and edit something because something just occurred to me. We can save a little space here. It's not just a weaponized creature and a cosmozoan, it is a weaponized cosmozoan. And it is also not Sid. No offense, Sid, but do a little bit of adjustment here. That ought to do it. That ought to be good. Okay, we've done its values, its focuses. All right, attributes. Attributes. Okay, now a notable NPC gets an array of 110, 2 9s, 2 8s, and a 7, which we distribute into the attributes as we please. So, since I'm in reason, I'm going to give it a 7. Get that 7 out of the way because it's not necessarily the jikaru's strong suit. Its presence, which is going to help with its telepathy. I'm going to give that a 10. No, I'm not. I'm going to give that a 9. I lied. Fitness. It survives in space. We're going to give that a 10. Control, we're going to give a 9. 9. No, that leaves both of my 8s. So daring and insight both get 8s. Now for its departments, you get a 3, a pair of 2s, a pair of 1s, and a 0. Well, medicine's a 0. Sorry. Engineering is probably 1. That's good. Command is a 1. It navigates okay in space. We're going to call that a 2. We're going to give security the 3 because it's real good with that energy blast weapon of its that it's got, which leaves a 2 for science. Okay, there are its attributes and its departments. Again, we're going to save. So we've got its attributes, its departments, its focuses, and its values. While we're here, it's not going to get protection. We're going to keep these, the ship values, because a Cosmozoan is treated as a ship, which means its attributes, which I will change off camera, its attributes are going to turn into ship systems, and there's a map on, what attribute corresponds to what ship system. But it's not going to need protection, and a notable NPC gets 3 personal threats. All right, let's get back to the checklist. Talents and special rules. I'm not going to need all this. All right. One of its special rules is that it is, in fact, a Cosmozoan. There will be descriptions for these, but I'll type them in. I will type them in off camera. I'm just going to put the names here. So special rule number 1 is Cosmozoan, and that's going to reference the rule in Allies and Adversaries. It has telepathy, which will reference the talent in the core rule book. All right, now we get into stuff that not quite as cut and dried. Like its energy absorption ability. It can soak up energy-based attacks and then redirect it. That's for that. We're going to say something along the lines of, if it gets hit by an energy weapon, the GM can spend 1 threat, and it will either heal 1 breach, which is the Cosmozoan equivalent of an injury, or it can add its security rating to its next energy burst attack. One or the other. We're going to see energy absorption. In the episode, it was hard to get a transporter or a tractor beam lock on this critter. So we're going to say that it's hard to lock on. It's hard to lock on, and that is going to increase the difficulty of locking onto it with tractor beams or the transporter by 1 or 2. I'm not sure yet. One of the things that made it a danger to Spock was its overwhelming telepathic projection. It nearly cooked Spock. It nearly cooked Uhura through the neural interface that they had devised. So let's see here. Yeah, we're going to say that prolonged telepathic contact, which is going to be left up to the GM. But if you're in contact with it too long, you're going to start, it's going to cause 3 stress, and that will probably repeat, for every round you remain in contact with it after that. But that's going to be up to the GM. Because of its control collar and the pain that it's in, I'm gonna say that it's got, and it kind of showed it. It's got some anger issues driven by its pain. So we're gonna say, let's call this pain-driven fury. Okay, I'll get all the descriptions and stuff for these typed in off camera. Okay, so I made a couple of quick format tweaks just because things didn't look all that balanced, and I didn't know how much the flavor text for the special rules was going to take, but I knew it wasn't going to be, all the way down here. So I evened these things up a little bit. I changed the text frames here because that was all the information that's going to be needed here. So I just brought everything up, which leaves me with some open space. We'll do something with it in a minute because I've got to get back to my checklist. See, I'm easily distracted, and this is all in the same project. So we've done their talents and their special rules, attacks and defenses. So let's do attacks. It's really only got one. So let's come down here, get rid of these. And it's not an unarmed strike. It is, what do I call that again? An energy burst? Yeah, an energy burst. But to figure some of this stuff out, we're going to have to. Okay, that thing was. We're going to have to figure out some of its starship numbers. It is not scale 2. I'm going to say it was a scale 3 because it was really big compared to that Lutani warship, and it was a significant fraction of the size of the Enterprise's saucer section. So we're going to call that scale 3. I'll have to figure its resistance out after I figure its starship stats out, but I'm going to. I'm just going to. I know it doesn't have any shields. Okay, so we are going to leave the resistance unresolved right now. I'll fix that off camera when I turn the attributes into ship systems. All right, so it is an energy burst. And I really should have had the second edition core book up so that I could check a couple of things out. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me get that up. Okay, so let's get to the ship stuff. It's scale 3, so let's figure out what its resistance is. Is half its scale rounded up, so that's going to be a 2 plus a bonus based on its structure. Well, now we have to figure out what its structure is going to be. Look at the Cosmozoan rules real fast. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Going in the wrong direction, of course. That's how my things go. So structure is going to be its fitness, which is its highest stat. And which I forgot something. Hold on just a second. This is how my life goes. So let's get back to this for a second. Because it's got, like any other NPC, it's going to have species modifiers. These are usually just baked in, but I'm kind of looking at some of my notes. All right, so its control is a 9. I'm going to say that its pain is giving it an increase in its daring, so we're going to bump the daring up to a 9. Its fitness seems like a natural target for an increase, and its presence, considering its telepathy, is probably going to go up 1. So we're going to call that a 10. All right. as I go way back on the checklist and then need to find a way to get back gracefully. But I really don't have one, so we're just going to skip back around to where we were a minute ago, which is figuring out its resistance. So it's half of its scale rounded up. So 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Round up is 2. And then it gets a bonus for its structure. So the table for that is on 185. Let's just zoom back over there real fast. Structure and resistance. Okay, for an 11, it gets a +3. This thing's got a resistance of 5. Good heavens. So I know I was planning on doing that off camera, but we're here, so let's just get that fixed. Its resistance is 5, y'all. No shields, scale 3. Okay. Now let's figure out its energy burst. We know by the very name that it is an energy attack. We also know that it doesn't have a tremendous range, so we're going to call it a close range. I'm going to figure out what its damage is going to be. And then get back into the core book and actually get to the weapons, which are further along. Get through these talents. Weaponry, here we go. Okay. Damage bonus from its weapons rating. So let's figure out. Okay, so weapons is its daring. And we bumped that to a 9. So it's going to be a +2 to its weapons damage rating. Let's take a quick tour. We'll get to those qualities in a minute. We're going to kind of ignore but we're going to treat it like as far as it's sort of like a phaser array. So we're just going to call the base damage ship's scale, which is a 3 plus that +2 bonus we were just talking about. So it's going to have damage of 5. So damage of 5. And let's start looking at some of the weapon qualities now. In the core book. Let's get back to where we were. All right. Now we know that it was an area weapon, so we can pretty much put that one on right away. So we know it's area. And we know that it affected the Enterprise's shields something fierce. So we're going to say that it was dampening because it took a while for them to get their power back. And the shields would be handled by depleting. And frankly, I think that's enough. It wasn't, persistent. It didn't really mess with the sensor, so jamming doesn't seem appropriate. So let's get back into this. Area weapon It's dampening. And it's depleting. And I think that's going to do it for its attack, because that's all it really uses an attack. So let's look at finishing touches. Give us a quick chance to go over things and see if we missed anything important. All right, finishing touches. What's the creature called? The Jikaru. We already put that in the title. Does it hold any particular place in local culture? Well, the Lutani, we're going to use it as a weapon. If it's similar to other creatures on the planet it came from, I don't think that's applicable. What does it smell like? What's in space? Odors don't travel in the vacuum of space. It makes sounds. Could it live upon other worlds besides the one it evolved on? Possibly. It was in an ocean planet and now it's in space. Maybe it could survive on another planet. I think as far as final touches go, we are, in fact, kind of done. So I'm going to get a couple of things filled in shortly. I'll do that off camera, then I'll probably come back and do a quick view in the video, but I think we're done here. Okay, while I was out getting myself something else to drink and doing all that, I went ahead and finished up the NPC character sheet for the Jikaru. Here's basically what it looks like. I will be sending this to Michael Dismuke at the wonderful, wonderful fan site of ours that we all avail ourselves of. Not really ours. I don't have anything to do with it other than using it a lot. Anyway, I'm going to send this to Continuing Missions, and it should be available shortly. And that being said, guys, the Jikaru is done. I know I made an absolute hash of this video. I'm out of practice. I need to do this more and get back into practice, but we'll see what happens. Life is funny like that sometimes. But the critter is done. I thank you all, as I always do, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I thank you for coming out. I thank you for watching this far. If you've watched this far, you know that at this point I'm going to ask you to, if you feel it's worth it, take advantage of one of my tip jars, or be so kind, if you want to do it on a long-term basis, like Robert and Lars do, is to contribute to my Patreon. All this stuff will be in the description below. And I'm always happy to be able to do this for you. I'm glad so many of you get something out of these videos. I'm glad that last time I looked, 466 of you have subscribed, and I'm hoping that number will go up. But it is time to call it a night. Thank you again so much for coming by. Thank you for spreading the word and being part of this crew and this community. It means a lot to me. I will see you all in the next time. Live long and prosper, everyone. And good night.